Hello and welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've already watched some of my videos. If you haven't already, please do consider subscribing and hitting that bell icon so you'll be notified anytime I post. So I am starting in my Happy Planner budget extension pack in the classic size. So what I thought I would do is, because month after month a lot of my bills do look the same, or a lot of my budget does look the same, what I thought I would do is do the monthly overview and then do one bi-weekly breakdown. So what this means is the numbers I'm putting here are going to reflect my regularly scheduled bi-weekly payments to each bill or cash envelope. And then this way I can just pretty much pull this out and be like, this is how much I'm going to be putting towards this for each paycheck, instead of having to rewrite the same thing over and over and over again. You'll notice on here I did leave some extra spaces in case I need to add some electronic payments, but also I don't have the debt snowball because that does tend to change month to month, and so I figured I would just include that as a monthly payment, instead of breaking it down into the two. And then that way I don't have to worry about the fluctuations. And of course, these aren't going to apply to the third paycheck, which will happen in August and January, but it fits for most of the year. So this is what I'm going to do instead of rewriting the same numbers over and over and over again. And it'll also save some time in my monthly budget videos as well. So I forgot to write it, but these are my electronic payments. As you'll notice, there is a bit of a code on the side, and what that corresponds to is the electronic payments that I make minus my debt snowball. So rent, phone, electricity, Netflix, bank, provincial loan, federal loan, savings, and insurance. And then I've split it into two columns. I think it's columns. Rows. Guys, I can never keep those straight, so don't mind me. But yeah, I created these two areas for me to put in what will be going from paycheck 1 and paycheck 2, which usually is just an even number across the board. So let's just dive right in. So I'm gonna try and keep this even. So for rent, it's monthly $520. So I do break that down into $260 and $260. For phone, it is $46.49, but to make things easier, I do break it down into payments of $23.50, which totals $47. And that's just for my own peace of mind. For electricity, I always budget $150. And that, even if it's not $300, that's just because I want to make sure that I do have that money, because that's the most I've ever spent on electricity. And I'm just putting in dollar signs, guys. So I do want to make sure that I do have that much money on hand. But also, if I think in those months, because I do pay electricity bi-monthly, in those months where I don't have electricity payments, if I think that that's already budgeted for electricity, my hope is that I then don't overspend on other categories, and that money is going to stay safe and be able to go towards my debt snowball. So that is why I do it this way. So I put in all my dollar signs for that. So for Netflix, it is monthly $13.99, but I just budget $14 because, again, it's easier. So I split that into 7 and 7. For bank, the most I have ever paid for my bank charges is $22.50. So I budget $11.25 for each paycheck. For my provincial loan, it is, I think the total is $107.71, so I split that into $53.86 for each pay, and that is always going to be true no matter what. For my federal loan, it is $513.51, I think, something like that. So I break it down into $256.77 for each paycheck. For savings, I have $50 that comes out of my paycheck before it's even deposited into my bank account, and that is put into a special account, which I don't have a debit card for, in the hopes that that'll keep me from touching it unless it is actually an emergency. And if it is an emergency where I need immediate access, I do have my credit card, which does have that $1,000 limit, so I can put the emergency, whatever it is, immediate emergency, on my credit card and then immediately pay it. Well, not immediately, but go get that money out of my account, for which I don't have the debit card, and then put it back onto my credit card so that that is paid for. And that's just what I do to keep that money safe. For insurance, it is only $17.16 a month for my renter's insurance. So I do only budget it for paycheck number 1, and that obviously is the full $17.16 amount. So total for electronic payments every month is $829.54 in paycheck number 1, and in paycheck number 2 it is $812.38. So that is it for my electronic payments. For my cash envelopes, again, it is very similar to what I did above with codes, although I did realize as I was going through that there were a couple that, specifically the G seems to be a popular letter in my cash envelopes. So what I did was, for the first, which is my giving, I did leave it just as G, and for the 2 other G's, I did put the second letter to designate that as that specific fund, so I wouldn't have to be confused between the 3 G's, and I mean, honestly, that probably keeps you guys from being confused as well. So my first thing for giving is it is always $240 a month, which is $120 per paycheck. For restaurants, for the summer months, where I don't have hockey going on right this second, I am only budgeting $40 monthly, which is $20 per paycheck. That'll probably change, and I'll just white it out and change it that way. For fun money, I always budget $40 for my fun money, and so that's broken into $20 each month. For groceries, I always budget $125, and I split that into $65 and $60, just because that makes it nice and simple, and it keeps the bank tellers from strangling me when I get change out, and it keeps me from having to worry about holding a bunch of change. Well, actually, it's just easier all around, so that's what I do. Anyway, for bus, I always budget $80, even though it is $78, just because, again, it is easier to break it down into $40 instead of having to break it down into change and making that a whole mess. So that is $40 per paycheck. For my trip, I did just return, so I am budgeting only $20 a month, which is $10 a paycheck. That might change once I get closer to my trip again next year, but for right now, that's what I'm putting aside. For gifts, I always set aside $50 per month, which is $25 per paycheck. For my MISC, this is a new one for starting in July. I am going to set aside a total of $20, which does leave me with $10 per paycheck. I am also doing subscriptions. It's a new envelope as well. Check out that video if you would like to know more about these new categories and changes I'm making to my budget. So I am budgeting $20 per month for that as well. So that is $10 and $10 per paycheck. For hockey, I am budgeting $50 for it, for both season tickets for the 2020 and to 2021 year, and playoff tickets for the 2019 year if we do make it to playoffs. So I break that into $20 and $30 per paycheck. So I did the math earlier, and this comes to a total of $340 from paycheck 1 and $345 from paycheck 2. So, and that is going to fall below my $1,256.84. So I didn't do the math on this one, but 8 plus 3 is 11. So about $1,160, which would leave me about $100 in paycheck number 2, and 40 plus 30, 70, and probably just a little under $100 for paycheck number 1 to go towards my debt snowball if I'm stay with the budget. So that is how my bi-weekly breakdown is going to go for the majority of the months. There may be times I change it, and I will point that out when I do my monthly budget. But I figured this would save some time, and especially where each month it does tend to be very, very similar. So, as always, if you haven't already, please do consider subscribing and hitting that bell icon so you'll be notified whenever I post. Do like and comment on my videos. I really appreciate your feedback and hearing from you guys about your journey. I do need to get better about asking questions of you guys. As you might have noticed, I am a bit of an awkward turtle, so I don't really know I don't do conversations very well, especially when I don't really have people face to face with me. So if you have any tips about how to improve that and you're still hanging around, first of all, congratulations. Second of all, can you please give me some tips? I would love to hear from you. But yeah, so I will let you guys go before this gets too much longer. Until next time, bye.